Sometime today. Okay. What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Anthony, Lori, and Mike. And we are discussing the second episode of season 4 of The Boys. And I'm going to be honest, I don't even know where I want to start with this.
What if God was a centipede? Just a human centipede. I mean, I swear, Eric Kripke is just going to bring everybody from Supernatural over here.
And I am here for it. But let me tell you, this was way more of Rob Benedict than I ever wanted to see ever in my life.
Way more. I was like, this is a bit much. This was almost worse than the exploding penis thing. Almost.
It was on par.
No, for me, it was because I actually know that actor. Like, and I'm so used to seeing him from Supernatural as Chuck/God. And it was just, first of all, him being on the screen when I saw, Splinter setting up the stage, I'm like, that dude looks way familiar. But I couldn't figure it out because it's been ages since I've seen him clean shaven. He's had a beard and a mustache for the longest. So I'm sitting here looking at him like, I know who the fuck that is. As soon as he opened his mouth, I was like, oh Lord, what are they going to get him to do?
See, I didn't realize that was him until just now. Because like I said, I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, that was Chuck Shirley / God from Supernatural.
Yep, man. They're all going to show up. We just need our girl to show up. Ruth.
She probably will, maybe.
Exactly.
I know they're talking about trying to get Jared on there, especially now that Walker has been canceled. They're like, he's got some time now. I'm like, why not? I don't even know if I want to know what kind of role they will put Jared in, because I'm pretty sure if Kripke says, okay, so we're going to have you do this fucked up thing, this fucked up thing, this fucked up thing, in his mind, he's probably going to be like, how can I top Ackles, what Ackles did? I don't even know if I could handle that.
I mean, Ackles had group sex with a bunch of senior citizens, so it's like the bar is there.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know if I could handle it.
And Eric Kripke has a tremendous imagination.
He really does.
My God. He has people who will play with that imagination. They'll be like, oh, you want me to do this? Yeah, let's fuck the fandom up. Because when I saw it, I was like, okay, Splinter, okay, or whatever. I was like, okay, he's there's a lot of them. He's a clone. He's like
duplicate, multiple man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that. I was like, okay. And then you come into the deep blue sea room, and I was just like, whoa. Like, I was not expecting it. I had heard people talking about the human centipede on Twitter, had no idea what it was about. And I didn't go looking because I hadn't seen the episode yet. So I was like, okay, I don't really want to know. And then I'm like, oh, I probably should have prepared myself because I was not ready.
He probably did the thing that you're talking about with Ackles. And what's his name? Like, I want to top that. Like, I want to do, and Eric is like, okay, I got something for you.
Oh my God. So you do the human centipede, and then you do the thing where he actually does splinter off into other versions of himself.
Hey, the effects are amazing.
Naked. Oh my God.
The effects are amazing.
They are, but oh my God. I was just like,
I mean, just to see him dangling there, I was like, yo.
Because even Duplicate, I don't think in Invincible they ever show her duplicate.
Yeah, they do, and she keeps her clothes on.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I know Multiple Man does, and he keeps his clothes on too.
Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about
this is the boy. So
there was another character in one of the X-Men movies who also duplicated himself, but it wasn't.
It was Multiple Man
in this way.
It was Multiple Man.
Yeah. So, but it wasn't in like this one. He literally is splintering himself apart. And yes, the effects are amazing, but I was just like, This is too much.
See, I think a better name for him would have been mitosis, because that literally looked like a cell splitting. Like,
yeah,
it's not. I don't know.
Like,
but
that was straight mitosis.
Yeah, I was like, okay. We had to ask the question in the last episode. We said, yeah, it wasn't as gory as last season. We were expecting more.
They were taking their time. They were pacing. They were pacing themselves. We got Splatter. We got Splinter. We got Human Centipede.
It was so. There were what 1, 2. There were what 7 of them, 8 of them.
I didn't even count.
And just the fact that when he was looking, he sat there and pulled his mouth. I was like, this is too much.
And the pink eye.
And oh my God, the pink eye Frenchie was like, that comes from tossing too many salads. And Firecracker is looking like
he's like, there's allergies. This is allergies.
Right. Right. And she was like, shut the fuck up. But oh my God, that was just.
It was too much.
It was a awesome. Lot. It was a lot, and
I mean, it's the boys. We have to expect it.
No, you know what? We've been watching this show for 3 seasons now. We know. Well, this is the start of the 4th, so technically we watched full 3 seasons. So technically, we know to expect some fuckery out of this show. But I swear, anytime I think about what could top whatever, they just always kind of go beyond it. And I'm just like, I'm almost scared now because I don't know what they're going to do for the rest of the season. Because that's not going to be it. That is not They've got to come up with one more thing that's going to happen this season that's going to top that. And I'm almost scared to even think about what that could be. But yeah, it was a bit much.
It's going to happen. Just brace yourself.
On the opposite side of the spectrum, not sexually, related. Who in the hell? How did y'all talk Will Ferrell into being in this episode? And
that was genius.
I was just like, because at first I was so confused when they started the episode, and you see it, because I'm like, what are they going back into? I'm thinking they're going back into like A-Train's history, like they're showing us a flashback or something. When he steps out and the music changes, I was like, oh, they're shooting another fucking Vought movie. And then when I saw his face, I was like, really? Really? Because Mike sent me a message. He was like, have you seen episode 2 yet? I said, no, not yet. He said, okay, because I want to get your reaction on something. I'm thinking it's Will Ferrell because it's right there at the beginning. I was like, Will Ferrell, really? He was like, oh no, just wait.
Wait for it.
You could have gave a sister a warning.
No, absolutely not. No. I told you wouldn't have listened to me anyway. If I was trying to warn you about, you'd be like, nah, spoilers, I don't want to know. So there. But yes, no, but Will Ferrell was hilarious. Just like, I thought you're supposed to be a practice. He's like, well, you know, spend your time slinging yayo. I'm like, I haven't heard someone say slinging yayo in like 20 years. Like, I don't even think Tony Yayo uses yayo anymore. And
I thought I was watching The Wire for a second, a bad version of it.
It was like, it was like a satire, Wire satire.
But it was so weird because he's obviously like, I am not the biggest Will Ferrell fan. I will put that out there, but I know this man knows how to act. So to see him purposefully acting in a way that is very not up to par with what he usually does, I'm sitting there watching like, how much money did they pay him to come do this? Because
I wouldn't be surprised if he did it for free. I wouldn't be surprised if he did it as a favor. Just to be like, I mean, just to shock people, because it's like, it's not like he needs the money. He's probably like, the boys. Oh shit, yeah. He's probably up mad that he didn't get naked. He's probably mad that he wasn't Splinter. He probably would have embraced that role.
I'm telling you now, if that had been Will Ferrell, I would have stopped. I would have been like, you know what? I'm done. That would have been awesome. I'm done because I will never be able to look at it and think, oh, that's Elf. Like, no, I would have been done. No.
What was that organization they called Jan on at the Super Bowl, the FCC? I think a phone call would have been made if that would have happened.
I would have been like, no, I can't do it. I can't.
He went streaking in old school, so it's not like out of character for him to be showing his ass. So it's like,
but what?
I know.
No, there's a difference between showing your ass and eating your own ass on TV. No. No. They have to make those distinctions, just like in the first episode when they were trying to figure out who was going to be in the 7, and they had the one person that was Zach McGowan. I was like, how you get his face on screen for 5 minutes and it's of that character, and A-Train is like, but didn't he eat a dog? No, he ate out a dog. There's a difference. I was like, what are y'all doing? What? Okay.
What are we doing here?
Right.
What are we doing?
But the whole satire of the A-Train film, and we know they always do this, and of course, race plays a big part in this show, but even this was it was cringy because A-Train is clearly not enthused about the way the story is being told, because I think
it was a soup version of Blindside, basically.
And that's what Will Ferrell's character coach said, or no, that's what he said. He was like, it's not giving too much Blindside, but the name of the movie is called Training A-Train. And so it's supposed to be like an autobiographical version of A-Train's life. But of course, they've changed some of the elements to make it more authentic. And I was just
come back with me to the suburbs.
Right. And sidebar, I know the way that you said it doesn't matter. And the way it's scripted is it don't matter.
I was like, yeah, that tracks. Okay, gotcha.
It's man. So cringeworthy.
It really is.
But it's purposely, so funny.
It's purposely cringeworthy.
It worked. It definitely worked. See what smelled that? It smells you. It smelled Oscar. I was like,
he was like, well, I did have falafel.
I was like, oh my God. That freaking director, dude. Holy shit.
Oh my God. And I completely, up until I saw this, I was like, oh yes, that's the director dude that Ashley was with in the bathroom.
Yes.
Right. Yes. I remembered him because I was like, because he kind of sort of reminds me of Todd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except without the big dent in the back of his head. But,
this is true. This is true. But yeah,
my brain registered that as big dick. I didn't hear the rest of that because of the conversations they were having about him. So I thought that's where he was going, and I was like, "Wait, no."
I can't.
See, no, nah. Oh my God.
Okay. Okay. Let's go away from all of that.
And damn Noir. This dude that's playing Noir is just like,
he's amazing.
That's the thing, though. It's the same dude. It's still Nathan. I think his name Nathan.
Yeah,
Mitchell.
It is Nathan Mitchell.
It's still him.
He's great.
He actually has speaking lines now. He's taking full advantage.
He's awesome. Great.
I think he had to deal with Kripke. He was like, if you kill him, can you bring him back as an actor playing him with actual role? Because I want to kind of talk. He's like, sure, why not?
He's great.
Dude,
I love it.
Everybody's like,
it's hilarious.
Your superpower is that you don't speak. Like you're supposed to shut up.
I'm sorry.
You're still talking. He was like, yo, I don't want to seem ungrateful, but that was fucked up. Like, does Homelander tell us to kill people regularly? And if he does, like, are we supposed to do it? I mean, I had no problems doing it, but I just want to make sure we're on the same.
Oh my God.
He's great. I love it. I love it. Every time he says something, I'm about to die. It's so funny.
Every time he says something, I feel like he's about to die because I'm like, oh, he's gonna get on Homelander's nerves.
Yeah, I keep feeling like this isn't gonna last long.
One good time. It's gonna be done.
No, I'll tell you one bad time where he's gonna say something and Homelander's just gonna laser him in half and be like, I'm done. Next.
But I almost feel like we need to do a drinking game every time someone tells him to shut up this season. Like, take a shot every time someone says Noir, shut the fuck up.
Every time you invent a drink,
huh?
Every time you invent a drinking game, you try to give me alcohol poisoning. Right?
I'm just saying. They tell him to shut up quite a bit. I mean, and even when they're practicing for Ryan's first save, first of all, the fact that y'all fake the first save. Because, I mean, we know that Vought is kind of like this. We know that they're not all legit, all on the up and up. But even I was a little surprised about that. Like, the first save, oh, it's a script? Oh, it's fake?
I think most of their saves are faked.
Well, I mean, we haven't really seen any fake, like, Homelander saves. Like, every time he goes into a situation, whether he has saved someone or whether he does the other thing, those have all been authentic. I think same with Maeve, same with Starlight. We haven't really seen the fake side of it with any of the main heroes, I would say, the main ones that we know about. So this is the first.
Well, A-Train's brother said he ain't never saved nobody.
Right. So
nobody.
Nobody.
And I actually kind of sort of felt bad for A-Train at that point. But at the same time, I was like, dude, why are you lying to your nephews? Like, I understand you're trying to build a connection with them because your brother has kept them from you. I mean, rightfully so, because you're the reason why your brother is now paralyzed. But I felt a little bad for him. When his brother showed up, I was like, oh, you about to get chewed out. And then when the brother laid it out all on the line, I was like, yeah, why are you even in the 7? Because we've seen A-Train do, we saw him kill. We've seen him kill a couple of people. He's done these bad movies. He's done these bad commercials, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, but it's like you can't feel bad for A-Train because you know they're going to bring it right back around and make us be like, oh, this motherfucker. Then they're going to then they're going to get in and be like, oh, then you'll be like, oh. It's like it's a circular thing with him. It's like, you want him to do right, but then it's like he does some stupid shit. He does some stupid, like, egocentric shit to benefit himself and no one else. It's like, that's kind of who he is. But he does. I mean, he has his moments, but they're few. They're still. He still deserves everything that he's getting. I mean, you can't really say he doesn't. It's like,
oh no,
he deserves for his. He deserves. He doesn't deserve his brothers forgiveness yet because it's like he keeps fucking up. So
now, and again, going back to what we said in the last episode, I feel like here again they're trying to do this whole this kind of sort of redemption thing with him, because after the scene with his brother, you see him show up at the boys' headquarters, and he gives them the footage showing that the 2 Starlighters who are being held for Todd and the other guys' murders, he was like, yeah, they weren't even, they were a mile away. So it's like, I see what they're trying to do, but it's almost like, even though it's like every time they try to give him one step at redemption, they also take him backwards, kind of like what you just said, Mike. It's like you give, you take, you give, you take, you give, you take. And I'm kind of confused about what they're going to do with his character, because it's like you have him turning in that evidence and kind of making the admission to Starlight or to Annie and Hughie that he's a piece of shit. That's pretty much what he says. But then when he's talking to Noir, he's right back to his asshole self again. Just do your job and shut the fuck up. Like, dude, you of anybody know what this is going to turn into. Brother man is just asking you for a little, I need some direction. I need to know which way. Just, I mean, you could have said it nicer than that, but I mean, I don't know.
I think they've written him as he's sort of in this weird place where he wants to do the right thing, but he also has still that sense of self-preservation. He's still his A-train. I mean, he's telling his nephews a fake save story.
Yeah.
You know,
he's trying to make himself look cool in their eyes.
Right. He's still going to be A-train, but he has a little bit of that. He wants to do the right thing, but he knows if he's found out, he's going to die. So he's still kind of stuck in the middle. You know, and that's why we're confused about how he's acting, because he's kind of confused.
Yeah,
I don't think he's really sure what he wants to do. He's like he's doing just enough to make himself feel like he's doing the right thing.
Yeah,
just enough, just a little bit,
just to ease his conscience. Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah.
Every time I see certain things on this show, I try to remind myself that the show is fiction. But when they put on there that the guy, there are 2 black guys killed those 3 guys at the thing, I was just like, it's like that just looked too fucking close to it. It's like, and like that whole TruthCon. By the way, Hanako, I have a note here that I don't ever want to do panels at TruthCon. Like, I'm good. We don't need to do that at all.
No.
I don't think we need to go to that one.
Yeah. No. I was actually kind of worried because we all saw what kind of convention TruthCon was. Like, it was very, very right wing, very, very
conspiracy theorists.
And Mother's Milk is walking in there with an Eric B. Rakim t-shirt. I was like, dude, if you don't look like the most out of place person in the entire set.
Hey, he ain't no joke. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with you.
But yeah, it's like that could. I know I'm jumping, but that whole convention just I was just like, I could literally see this really happening. I could see someone doing some shit. Like, I'm surprised it probably exists. I'm willing to bet money that this motherfucker exists.
It does.
Yeah, probably does.
I think
I've never heard of it, and I don't want to hear of it.
Look,
I think the turning point convention. I think.
Oh God.
Look, I have someone who is in the living room who is a prepper who, if I walked in there right now, would probably send me at least 5 different links to 5 different one of these type of conventions. Okay, it's just that we as a group don't normally go, but I trust them. They are out there, and I'm looking at it, and I'm sitting there, and I'm going, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if my grandfather would be like, let's go to one of those, because it's not just black and white. It's more conspiracy theorists. Okay. Now, they took it to the extreme, but there are a lot of people. Their jam is conspiracy theories all day long. But see, here's the problem. If you want to make it realistic, Sage shouldn't have been there. Okay. Sage had no place being in that type of convention. One, they probably in reality would never let her in. Okay, because of the other components. 2,
well, she was there. She had a purpose,
and that's why she had the selfie with Homelander. Because if anybody would have said something to her, she'd be like, "Look, my roll dog. I'm good."
Yeah, but see,
I'm one of the good ones. Here, look at this.
Yeah, Sage is one of those characters. I haven't seen episode 3 yet, but Sage is one of those people where I think that she's, and I know she's supposed to be like the world's smartest person. But I think that she's got enough common sense to really pick and choose her battles to get, what she wants. But no, I don't personally know anyone who's actually been to one of those conventions. But let's just say I have my suspicions.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, the whole thing is just like all the different things that they were. I was like, I was like, is this TikTok? Is this a TikTok convention? Like, this is like
you literally have a booth for the Shining Light group? Really?
Yeah,
really?
For real.
And
it's like the flat earthers were coming on after Firecracker. I was just like, of course they are. Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, it was strange. And I kind of get what you were saying, Lori, as far as Sage being there. But again, we talked about this with the last episode. Sage, I think, has her own agenda separate 100%. From Homelander's. Like, of course she's doing 100%. What she's supposed to do. But if you look at the way she's walking in, like even with the little meeting that they were having to discuss Ryan's brand, and Homelander was there, and she basically shut Ashley out. She was like, okay, no, what y'all are proposing is stupid, because Ryan doesn't need to be partnered up with his dad. He needs to be by himself. He needs to have his own save. And Homelander is like, but he's my son. We're supposed to do this together. She said, you want to build a kingdom for your son. I'm helping you do that. And it's like, you see him wanting to say something, but he understands, like he said, he's smart enough to listen. He went and asked for her. He asked for this. He wanted her because she was going to be completely honest, and she was going to tell him the shit he didn't want to hear, which is what everyone else wasn't doing. And so when she leaves the room and Ashley corners her in the elevator, she was like, you cannot talk to Homelander like that. She's like, bitch, please. He wants me here because I'm telling him the truth, and I'm going to help him get what he needs. And he basically telling Ashley, she was like, look, he stressed you out so much, you done pulled your hair out. You need to make yourself, what did she say? You need to make yourself
make some milk out them titties.
Useful, get some lactation going, and let him suck on them titties, or else you're going to end up like Madeline Steele, where I was like,
shit.
Like, damn.
And now I'm convinced that she does have an ulterior motive because of what she did with the Deep.
Yeah.
And she's like, maybe you should be there. That's a good idea.
Yeah, because
when she told him, she was like, why do you let her talk to you like that?
Yeah, and then have him go off on she's manipulating everyone around her.
Mm-hmm. She's living the whole building. She's manipulating everybody.
And she's doing it in such a way, it's like, it's a very obvious way, but it's also very subtle. Because when the Deep walks into the elevator, Ashley says something to him because, what was it? He was suggesting, he said, yeah, here Ryan is about to do his first save. What if I was there? That's the suggestion. That's it. And what was it that Ashley said? She said, you want to be on the save when Peter still has you on their bestiality list. And even with that, as soon as she gets out the elevator, that's when Sage is like, why did you let her talk to you like that? Like, you are on top of the food chain, and she is the equivalent of a capybara, which should be out because he couldn't say that shit and he messed it up twice. But still, she was like, you are more superior than her. Act like it. And he's just sitting there like,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. He's sitting there confused, like. And then when he does kind of go up to Ashley, he was like, you can't talk to me like that. And she was like, whatever.
He was like, yeah, you're just a Capricornium or
Capybara.
And she was like, so you're fucking land animals now. He was like, what was it he told her? He was like, if you ever speak to me like that again, I will drown you in your toilet.
Oh, he said, I'm the ruler of the 7 seas.
Right.
Like, wow. Really?
Yeah. He was like, if you ever talk to me like that again, I will drown you in your toilet after I've used it. And she was looking horrified, and I was like, ew. But I mean, he made his point, because she said yes, sir, and walked off. I was like, oh, do we really need to have a Deep with his head blown up? We don't need that. We had that actually in the first season.
Apparently Sage wants him to have that.
Yeah.
For a reason.
I wonder if he's gonna end up challenging Homelander. Because that's really the big, like, Ashley treats him like dirt, yes. But she is nothing compared to the way Homelander treats him. So I wonder if that's going to be kind of like building up to him standing up to Homelander, being like, you know what, nobody really likes you. They only do what you tell them to do because they're scared. I was scared too, but I'm not scared of you anymore. Which we already know that would end in his death. But I'm just saying, like, I kind of feel like that's where it's going, because she done told Ashley off. She's put this thought in the Deep's head that he is, you know, a little bit higher on the food chain, so he needs to start acting like it. And I think even some of the stuff that she's saying, I don't want to say it's causing a divide between Ryan and Homelander, because we talked about this last episode. Ryan, we already see, is not really on the same page with Homelander as far as his thoughts about, you know, the humans are just toys for our amusement. You know, the whole thing with Ryan's first save, when they actually do it, Homelander does show up off script, but he shows up, it kind of throws Ryan off his game, and then he's like telling him, do it, throw him hard, because Ryan is supposed to throw the quote unquote bad guy off of the little girl that he's kidnapping. Now they practice this in rehearsal, and Coy, the stunt guy, he was like, yeah, Ryan, you can throw me a little. I'm built to take this. I'm used to it.
As soon as he said that, I was like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah. So when Homelander tells Ryan, do it, throw him now, and Ryan pushes hard force, Ryan does not know how to control his own strength yet. So he literally pushes Coy and splatters him up against the building, like pushes him so hard, body parts start falling off the building. And later on, when Ryan is in the home crying, Homelander thinks that Ryan is upset about the fact that he showed up in the middle of his solo save. He was like, yeah, but I think me being there is going to help your numbers. Like, what? And I love the fact that every time someone says something to Ryan about numbers, statistics, and all this other stuff, he's looking at them like, what? Like, what language are y'all speaking? This boy has been with y'all for more than 6 months, and y'all didn't even tell him the whole purpose of the superheroes. Like, you didn't tell him that this is a social media experiment. You didn't
remember this. Not he wasn't raised like they all were.
But that's what I'm saying. Right. He's been with them for 6 months at the very least. We know it's been maybe a couple months more. So y'all are sitting here trying to prepare him for his first save, but y'all don't explain the whole logistics of it to him.
I think they kind of assume that he knows.
Why would he know? His mother raised him off the
grid. It's hard for them to conceive now of someone not knowing how the system works, because they all learned about it at a young age.
But
everybody knows how it works.
But everybody also knows that Ryan was not raised that way, that Ryan didn't even know he had powers.
They know that, but they can't, their minds is not conceptualizing that. They know they know he was raised off the grid, but they're still not going to talk to him like that, because it's a common thing for them. It's not an uncommon thing. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because I
understand what you're saying.
Because for them it's something they're always thinking about. It's something they're always doing. They're not thinking of, oh, we need to teach him this too. And also, I also would believe that Homelander is kind of limiting Ryan's access, or people's access to Ryan anyway.
Okay, that would make more sense to me than them just assuming that he would know, because that doesn't. It just doesn't.
I'm sure they assume they're assuming, even if they're unconsciously assuming he knows how everything is supposed to work.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, the way Homelander reacts when Ryan is crying, because Ryan makes it known, he was like, I killed Coy, and he was like, is that what you're upset about? Son, you can't get upset about stuff like this. You know, humans are fragile. Mistakes are going to be made. And I was like, you are talking to the same child who accidentally killed his mother. You dumbass, that's the wrong thing to say to this child. But again, I think we're starting to see where Homelander is starting to lose his patience with Ryan's humanity, because he was like, look, you are the chosen one. No, you have been chosen. You are destined for great things. You have got to stop with this behavior. You know, Coy died doing what he loved. He knew what the risks were, blah, blah, blah. And Ryan is just looking at him like, and when Homelander's like, it'll be easier on the next one, Ryan's like, no, I'm not doing this again. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. So I think it's going to be, I think Homelander is going to end up at this point now, he's going to start pushing Ryan away, because I think Ryan is now getting to the point where he still acts like a sheltered kid, you know, especially with a lot of the things that they say to him, stuff that would be common sense. He's just like, what? What does that mean? I don't, you know, but with the stuff that Homelander says and the way Homelander reacts, and also if he's paying attention to the way other people react around Homelander, I think Ryan is going to start pulling away. I don't know how safe that will be for him, because Homelander is still Homelander. And I think if he gets to a point where he feels like Ryan is out of his grasp or out of his reach, Ryan is going to just become another casualty like everybody else. You know, it's like, he says that Ryan is his son and that's the only person he has and blah, blah, blah. But if Ryan is not falling with the program 100%, then yeah, he's going to start. I don't think I would go so far as to say he would harm Ryan, but I don't think he would be overly as protective of him if Ryan is not, 100% team Homelander.
And he had the stupidest code name, Homeboy.
Oh, that was
when I saw that, I was like,
I will admit I freeze framed to see what was on the post. I know, did they say Homeboy? I had to rewind and pause it.
Yes, it did.
It said Homeboy.
Yes, wow. It did. I mean, and it's so interesting because you see how much the race card is being played, especially in this episode. I mean, they started the fucking episode off with Hypnotized by Biggie Smalls. That was shocking to me. I was like, oh, okay. And then when you see the different little themes as far as that stuff goes, the Homeboy thing, when you've got a Black person on the design team for this, and he did something else. I think it was last season with, was it the A-Train stuff or something else that he did? And I was looking at him like, dude, just give me your Black card because it's been revoked. But you see it a lot in this episode as well. Going back to TruthCon and Sage and the fact that she should not have been there, and you kind of see them playing with that dynamic. And that's another reason why I feel like Sage is doing her own thing, because that was one of the things that she mentioned when Homelander first came to her. She was like, I don't want to sue. Y'all not about to put me in some racially ambiguous shit and just be like, whatever. But I feel like that's coming, because that's going to be part of her, whatever it is that she's doing. You know, make Homelander, make Vought think that she's playing the game. She's going to, I don't know what they're going to do, because she's not a part of the 7 yet. But also, when you think about the way that she approached Firecracker when they had Marvin and everyone cornered, she was like, this is the last part of your audition. Audition for what? She said, get it done and you'll find out. I was like, oh, they finna put this bitch in the 7. Which means if they put her in the 7, I have a feeling Sage is probably going to be one of those people too, because that's a way for her to get more of what Homelander wants done. And also to, fulfill whatever her own agenda is.
Even before that, before that, when she cornered her and it said, "What do you do? Like, what are your powers?" And she did that little lackluster finger snap that made smoke. I was like, that's pitiful.
Was
but she
that what
actually
that's
made
supposed like? Is that supposed to be? Is that why they call her firecracker? Because if that's all she could do, and I don't know, maybe she was holding back because they were in a room full of people. But if that's all she can do,
well, she's a little strong too. She said that too. But then just like she said, well, what are you selling here? And she was like, I'm selling the truth. She was like, whatever. I started walking away. And she made her tell her what she was actually doing, which is selling purpose.
Oh, purpose,
hope,
yeah.
purpose. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of purpose, like, you do. She said people don't want to feel like they have no power, that they're hopeless and da da da. So if you tell them enough and keep them in the loop. And I was like,
why does that sound familiar?
I was like, this is just real. I was like, oh my God. But that's another way that Sage is like, she's getting people around that will serve her purpose. Not necessarily the best people for the job, but the best people for her purpose. Mm-hmm. It's like, because Firecracker can't do shit except talk. So it's like, whatever.
Talk and spread rumors and spread lies.
Right. She's basically Laura Ingraham or one of those other
MTG.
Take your pick. MTG.
Yeah, take your pick. Whichever one. But that's basically who she is.
I just had a thought. Is Giancarlo Esposito coming back?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything.
So I think he might.
What if? Just hear me out. What if he is in touch with Sage?
I mean, it's not a crazy theory. I mean, it's like that's a good way for him to get back in, just like through her.
He's still manipulating things.
Right. Behind the scenes, in the dark.
It would be even more interesting if she was actually related to him.
It would be.
Like,
but if you were as smart as she was, wouldn't it be someone you would get in touch with? Like, how does she know Marvin? She's like, yeah, Marvin, you think you can tell me and I would not know this?
She probably has done her research.
She's done her research, right? So she probably did the research on what's his?
She's done research on everybody.
I was about to call him Gus.
Yeah, but yeah, because especially if she's talked to Homelander has told her, okay, these are the obstacles I'm facing with whatever it is I'm doing. He's probably told her about Butcher, told her about, she knows a little bit about Ryan, but all you have to do is go onto the Vought News Network, because there's stuff online about Butcher and about Becca and all of this other stuff. So, and I'm sure Vought probably has files on Becca, because they were the ones who were hiding her and Ryan because they didn't want Homelander to find them. So she probably has access to all of that stuff because Homelander has access to all of that stuff. And they've also taken the Deep off of the out of the crime department. So she probably has access to all those records too. And of course, even though they work for the government, that Marvin and the boys will be considered criminals to Vought, because they are so successful in killing all of those soups. And I mean, Sage even says it. She was like, they have killed the more soups than anybody in the world. That's not something that you just kind of gloss over or ignore, and she would, especially working for Homelander, she would want to know anything that could be considered a weak point for him. And the fact
that also
they've defeated him a couple of times.
But would it also include Stanley Edgar too?
Yeah, I mean, and don't think that Edgar. I think that Edgar is smart enough to, when he was fired, that he's like, he already had a contingency plan like a long time ago. He's like, I know some bullshit's probably going to happen with Homelander being involved somehow. He probably has a back door into Vought and everything. So if Sage was in contact with him, he could probably get her whatever the fuck she wanted.
The question, isn't he locked up? I mean, not that will make a difference in this world.
That man got too much money to spend any time in jail.
That motherfucker ain't going nowhere.
He ain't no jail nowhere.
Absolutely not.
Homelander's in charge now. Homelander is probably making sure that Stan doesn't have access.
Homelander has the deep in charge of security.
Right.
That's how A-Train was able to get that information on
took him off.
Yeah, after the fact. But I'm saying for the most part, Stanley is out of sight, out of mind for Homelander.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not worried about him.
He has other things.
There isn't anyone that he's really worried about.
Only thing he's worried about gray pubes and making his son famous. He don't give a fuck about shit else right now.
No, but he thinks he's unstoppable. So
I don't even know if I would say that he's not worried about anything like that, because other than that, he really wouldn't have a need for Sage the way that he is now dependent on her.
No, his need for Sage has to do with protecting his legacy and dealing with the stupid people around him. That's why he has her. It's not because he feels like he has a vulnerability. It's because there's stupid people working for him. So he recognized his limitations without actually saying it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He can't do everything on his own. He doesn't know everything.
Right.
And he has people around him who aren't giving him the correct information for him to get what he needs done. They're just going like, he says some stupid stuff and he knows it's stupid, and they're just like, yeah, boss. No, he doesn't want that.
Yes, master. Yes, master.
Right. He doesn't want that. Yeah. He didn't really think about how big of an operation Vought is, and how many moving parts Stanley Edgar had to deal with. But he also had people who was giving him advice. Homelander doesn't have that.
Yeah,
that's what he needs Sage for. That's not a vulnerability. That's just recognizing your limitations. He's not a CEO. He's just
plugging up a weak spot, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's come off of Homelander and all of them, and let's turn towards the boys for a little bit. So I guess we see why Frenchie is hesitant to get into this relationship with Colin. Man.
Yep. Whoops.
If it wasn't for bad luck, Frenchie would have no luck at all.
I mean, it's like he had to know that everything he did in the past, it was bound to come back someday. It was bound to happen.
But I'm kind of like Cherie. She was like, because when he calls her and he's talking to her about what's going on, he was like, do you remember Hugh Conlon? And she was like, the judge's son. I was like, uh-oh. That was the first thing, because I thought about that, and the fact that in the last episode, when he saw the picture of Colin and his family, instead of putting the picture back, he put the picture face down on the desk. I was like, okay, something's not.
Yeah.
Wait. Are you talking about episode 3?
No, this isn't this episode.
When did that come out?
When he looked at the picture, that was actually in the last
episode 1.
That was in episode 1. When Colin was sleeping, Frenchie got out of the bed and he looked over to the wall and he saw a picture. He picked it up and it was a picture of Colin, and it looked like his parents and his sister. And he put the picture back down, face down on the dresser, instead of putting it back where he got it from. And then in this episode, when they get back from the whole little battle thing with Splinter and Firecracker, Frenchie is there, crushing pills and snorting. Yeah. So he calls Cherie and he's like, hey, do you remember Colin, I forgot, Hanlon, I think that was his name. And she was like, the judge's son? I was like, oh, this is not good. He was like, yeah, well, I saw him at I ran into him at Narcotics Anonymous. And she was like, did he recognize you? I was like, this is not about to be a good conversation. And then when he was telling her, he was like, no, he didn't recognize me. He was like, we got to talking and he needed a little help and I got him a job at Starlight House. She was like, so you're fucking him? She was like, damn it, Serge, what is it with you taking in all these strays? He was like, it was an accident. I didn't expect for it to happen. One thing just kind of led to another. So she was like, so what are you going to do when he finds out that you're the one that killed his family? I was like, oh, hell. Just.
Well.
But also, okay, so we know what that is now, why he's been hesitant with Colin. The other thing I don't like, and this kind of comes off of our conversation in the last episode, the way that they are depicting his and Kamiko's relationship now is so out of character and it's so strange, because it's almost like she keeps trying to force him to be in this relationship, and he keeps thinking, she's thinking his reticence is about her. And she was like, no, I know it's not about me, but you need to go do this. And it just, again, it feels forced to me, like her taking the phone and sending the suggestive text, and I just don't like the way their dynamic is in this season. It just feels really off. Like, you can portray them as still being friends, being supportive of each other and wanting them to explore other things, but the way they're going about it is just weird. Kamiko talking about, yeah, you need to go fuck him. I fucked somebody, he stuck his penis right in my vagina. Why? It just is so out of character for her.
I mean, to be fair, she was drunk. She had like 4 beers. I mean,
no,
after 5 beers, she acts. I mean, she had 6 beers. And it's like, I mean, it's crazy because people who have 7 beers like that, they just get crazy. They're just like, they act crazy. All they had is 8 beers, and 9 beers. So later, it's like,
but it's just,
that was hilarious. That part was funny
weird.
But I see what you're saying, though. It's kind of a weird dynamic because, I mean, if they decided that they're not going to be a couple, it's like, well, what are you going to do with them? It's like, there has to be some kind of awkwardness around them. It's like, because it's like,
I think it would be awkward if one of them still felt that way about the other. But we saw it very clearly in the last season that they had the conversation where they were like, okay, so we tried this kiss thing and it was weird. They both said, yes, it's weird. So we know that this is not going to happen. Okay, they've agreed to that, and they understand that what they feel for each other goes deeper than a romantic relationship. If one of them was still interested in each other and the other romantically, I could understand it being awkward. I could understand it being weird. But if you mutually decide, okay, this is not what we want, we love each other, we are family, and we still got each other's backs, I just feel like the dynamic should be a little bit different. This feels really weird and forced, and I don't know, it's kind of like, I think, Anthony, I think you said something in the last episode where you were saying that when we were trying to figure out what the deal was with them bringing Colin, we all kind of agreed, yeah, they're going to end up probably killing him. And I think you said something about he's going to get involved with Colin, some stuff is going to happen, Colin is going to die, and then he's probably going to circle back around to Kamiko. It kind of almost feels like that might be what they try to do, and I don't want them to do that. You've already established they don't feel that way about each other. Just keep the relationship intact and let them move forward. But the way that y'all are doing it, it's just, I don't like it.
I mean, it could be the trope where, I mean, where something happens between 2 people, and one of them feels the way, one of them doesn't feel it. The other person says, I don't really feel that way about you. And even though the other person does feel that way about them, they're like, okay, I don't either. And they just kind of harbor something. I mean, it's a trope, but
I think, like I said before, I think the writers changed, and they're doing this manufactured. They're setting us up with this manufactured emotional moment, and it's like this. The whole Colin Hauser thing with Frenchie is just, it's odd. It's a sub story, it's a subplot, subtext that doesn't seem to fit in what the show is trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a story that I mean, Frenchie is cool. A lot of his stories have dealt with and impacted the main story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, knowing who he is and knowing where he came from and knowing what he's capable of. All those side stories about him and his background, those are important. Mm-hmm. But why do we have to go through his guilt journey now about what he did in his past?
Yeah, because we had a lot of that in the last season.
Right. Why are we doing this again? That's why I say I think the writers changed and the agenda has changed as far as his character goes. So
the only
it's a setting up. Think about it. Where else are they going to be able to find some manufactured emotional stuff or just some emotional pulling on your audience? Where are we gonna get that from? And they're starting to do the same thing with Kimiko. So she has to have her personal journey as well. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be some emotional stuff there too. Yeah. So they've taken these two characters and I think they've decided to, you know, make them sort of like the emotional core, the grounded relationship stuff going on, because we don't have Marvin anymore. We don't have anything to do with his relationships. Mm-hmm. They've abandoned that. They've moved forward from that. Mm-hmm. So we don't have him, Janine, his daughter, and Todd. We don't have any of that anymore. So we got to find it from somewhere.
Yeah, because I will say this too, and I said in the last episode, I really don't like what's becoming of Marvin's character. I just
no. That's why I say the writing has changed. Like even Hughie, like they're trying to do some stuff with Hughie that I don't know. This is weird.
It's like
they decided to take this season to go on the personal journey of all the other characters.
Like
they've done it with Butcher, and they did it with Marvin, and now it's time to do it with the rest of them.
Yeah, it seems like they want to sort of humanize the boys, because it's quite possible that whatever happens in the next 2 episodes, that they'll be so far removed from day-to-day, everyday things that they will be involved in such a big story that they won't get a chance to do it out. I'm not a fan of what they're doing, but it's possible that the way that they're writing it is going to impact what happens with Homelander in the end. It could be any number of things. It could be something happens finally to Homelander where they really Butcher takes Ryan away and has Ryan sacrifice of the team, saying, okay, we're going to be a family unit. We've worked out all of our stuff. We're going to be the boys' family. It could be that route. It could be any number of things. But I think that the reason they're doing this is that they want us to be on edge. They want us to be upset. They want us to go, I don't like that, only to wrap it around at the end to have a much bigger story. Go, yeah, well, they dropped that and we didn't notice it. It actually comes out to be pretty cool stuff. I still have faith in this season.
So, okay. All right. Bear with me for a second. Everyone, just bear with me for a second. This is not a theory.
Okay.
So my favorite video game, I've talked about this before, is the Mass Effect series. Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. In Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, one of the things you have to do to make sure your team is solid is everyone on the team, all the characters, you have to do these side quests in order to gain their loyalty. Mm-hmm. Okay, and all these side quests for each character has to do with something personal in their lives that they need to resolve. Okay. So it seems like maybe Eric Kripke was a fan of Mass Effect in the BioWare games, because each character has stuff they need to resolve. And you resolve these things, it makes them stronger, and you can accomplish the goal at the end. Okay. Because, there's in especially Mass Effect 2, if you don't have the loyalty, if you haven't done the loyalty missions, they will die in the final mission. Okay. Because they haven't resolved those things. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it has to do with family. Sometimes it has to do with getting revenge on someone who backstabbed you. So it seems like it's sort of following that pattern. They all have these unresolved things they need to take care of before the final mission. Right. So I think what Lori's saying is very valid. That it feels like they need to get all these things tied up in order to accomplish the goal, so they'll be focused. You won't have Billy worried about Ryan. You won't have Frenchie worried about his past. You won't have Kamiko worried about the rising sun. So you resolve all these things, and then they can get a laser focus on the task at hand. I'm just saying, and that's what it feels like to me. These are all side quests in order to clear it up, but it doesn't feel like it works for a TV show. But I can see kind of how it's going, but I don't know. I don't really care for it.
I won't say that it doesn't work for a TV show, but I think maybe just the problem is they're giving us all of this, and with some of these stories, we don't really have I won't say we don't have the emotional baggage or the emotional tie, because we know what the deal was with Kamiko and Shining Light. You know, we got the background with her.
I said Rising Sun, Shining Light.
But we got the background with her and her brother, so we know that. I think Annie's hesitance about the whole Starlight moniker and taking on that responsibility of leading the Starlighters, I have a feeling we're probably going to learn a little bit more about her past, because I don't think it's just what happened with her in the 7 that's holding her back. It has to do with something about the way that she came up, because we saw that she had a lot of conflict last season with her mother, and her mother was the one who forced her to do all these pageants and do all these things. So that will probably come back up. The interesting thing is we do get a little bit more of emotional outbursts from Marvin in this episode when it comes to Butcher, because he and Butcher were the closest, and now he's like so adamant about pushing Butcher to the side. And then you hear him talk about it in this episode. He was like, look, the reason I keep coming back is because I keep thinking things are going to change. Things are going to be different. You and I can go back to being like, we can handle this shit and be brothers again. And I think that's probably one of the things that I'm not liking about Marvin this season, but it also makes sense because you have this divide with him and his family. You know, his wife left him, married someone else. His daughter is being angry, like Monique came to him and was talking about the way that Janine has been acting. She's been angry, she's been cursing at people, and she's just being I won't say unrationally a teenager, but she's kind of stepped it up a notch. So
she's being unruly.
Yeah.
Unruly.
So he has that division with that side of the family, and then him and Butcher are at odds. He hasn't really been close to the rest of the boys. So I think that's a lot of what we're seeing with him. And again, I really don't like it because you see what kind of person he can be when he doesn't have the support he needs, or when he doesn't have, like you said, Anthony, that loyalty. So I'm gonna need him and Butcher to fix that shit. Also, I need him to grow that fucking beard back, because I think that's part of the problem too. The beard is gone and you acting like a totally different person. I don't like that shit.
Is it me? Or does he look like he's dropped some weight? He looks small.
He dropped a lot. He dropped a lot.
He apparently he said something in an interview, I guess last year or something, about he was purposefully dropping weight because all of that weight wasn't good for his health. And I get it. I understand it.
Yeah.
But there are some people I think look better with a little weight on them.
Right.
He is one of those people.
I agree, because I looked at it and I was like, is he sick? Because he's definitely smaller, right? Yeah. And I go back to Chadwick, nobody, because when you see someone who's different, you start thinking, oh, are they okay? So I'm not trying to be funny. It's just that I'm like, he looks smaller.
Yeah, I was kind of worried too. I was like,
all of that weight wasn't good for his health. And, they tell us that all the time, especially when you're bigger, it affects your blood sugar, it affects your blood pressure. It affects your knees. All that weight is put strain on your knees, gives you problems. So, I applaud him for doing it, because that's not an easy thing to do. But going back to just the superficial stuff of the show, I need MM to grow that beard back. And I need him to fix whatever the fuck it is with him and Butcher, because the thing I think that really cemented for me, like, Marvin is different and I'm not sure if I like the person he is becoming, is at the end of the episode, Butcher comes to him and he's very apologetic, but he's also telling him, look, when you are leading this type of group, you can't have a whole bunch of compassion because it doesn't get the job done. He said, you know, he was telling him what went wrong with the mission that they did. He said the right move would have been to grab that Sage girl, bring her back here, get the information we needed out of her. But you didn't want to go that route, and you led the boys into a trap. And they almost got killed for it. Like, you're not thinking straight. You're not thinking on the level that you need to be thinking on this. And he, you know, he goes into, I realized that I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I don't have a lot of time left. I just want to fix one thing. I need to get Ryan away from Homelander. I need to make sure he's safe. The fact that Marvin told him too little too late when he said, I can't do this alone, I need you. How many times have you heard?
He said too fucking little.
Okay.
Because
regardless, it's same sentiment. Same sentiment.
But it's worse. No, it's worse because he's already shown that he's fed up. He's like, I understand, but fuck you. He's reinforcing the fact that he's done.
And again, this goes to what I'm saying. Those words, in my mind, they don't really matter. It's the action behind it. When Butcher comes to you apologetic, when have we seen Butcher apologetic? When have we seen Butcher go to any one of them and be like, look, I need you. I need you. I understand Marvin is upset, but for him to say that to Butcher and turn his back on him, like, I can't help you. If it had been Janine, Butcher would have, no matter what kind of disagreements, arguments, whatever they had, if it was Janine, I have no doubt Butcher would move heaven and hell to do what he needs to do to help Marvin with his daughter. We've actually seen it. So for him to turn his back on Butcher, that's not the Marvin I know. And I have a problem.
But see, some people you just can't push like that. Some people, when they've had enough, they've fucking had enough. And it's like, you have to deal with that. I mean, maybe he'll probably help him later on, but at that moment, you're just going to have to deal with it. That's the way it is. It's like Mother's Milk is trying to do all this other stuff. He has Frenchie and Kimiko acting stupid over here. He has Hughie dealing with his dad over here. He has Starlight working a foundation over there. A lot of times it's just him, and he can't depend on Butcher because he's dying. And he just told them they were dying. He was dying, by the way. And like, nobody knew what was going on with him. They just knew that he would disappear, or he was like slacking a lot and da. They knew nothing about that until he told him that he was fucking dying.
Yeah.
And then it's like, at that point, Mother's Milk is like, and Mother's Milk is still mad from last season at him taking that temp fee, because he said that's bullshit. You know it. He's still mad about that too. He's like, I told you not to take it. Now you're dying. It's like, I don't know. I can't do this.
I get that.
But we're seeing the difference in the leadership styles. Like, Marvin I don't think Marvin is a natural leader anyway. And I think that's probably part of the problem. Butcher has led teams before. He put this team together. Marvin is not. Marvin was a solo person until he brought him in. So what all this other stuff going on with all these other people, that was a difference. Butcher would make them all do what they need to do and kind of ignore all the other noise. Here, they're all living in their noise and they can't really get the job done.
Yeah.
Marvin doesn't have someone giving him laser focus. He needs to be laser focused.
Yeah.
And he's not.
Yeah. And I was going to say, also I think he's so focused on proving that he can do the job that he really is ignoring the fact that he's not doing it well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you almost got your team killed. And not only that, Butcher is asking you to help him with Ryan. This is the one person that all of y'all know. If Homelander is able to exert his influence on Ryan, the whole world is screwed. So Marvin, as a leader, should put his personal grudge aside and be like, okay, you know what? We do need to get Ryan away from Homelander, because if we don't, we're going to have bigger problems. If Marvin can't handle B-level soups right now, people who are not even close to Homelander's level, what the fuck you think you're going to do against Homelander and Ryan? You can't handle that. And you need someone who has the experience. Like I said last episode, Grace is not going to be able to help you. President Singer is not going to be able to help you. You need someone that, and I understand he's undependable because of his illness, but still, Butcher can at least tell you, okay, look, this is how you need to do this. This is how you need to do this. This is what you need to do. This is what these people need to do. You need to send Frenchie to do this, Kamiko to do this, because Butcher was the one who put that team together. And he understands what their strengths are, even for Annie and Kamiko, who came in later, and for Hughie, who came in later. He still understands, okay, this is what this person is good at doing. Let them go do this. And Marvin I don't think he doesn't have that sight. And he's going to end up screwing the team up if he doesn't change, or if he doesn't stand down in this little battle he has going with Butcher. Because they almost died. Firecracker and all of them, yeah. If Butcher hadn't come in, they would have been done. All Splinter had to do was keep splinting himself to the point where they could have took all of them down. So.
But then Splinter fucked around and got Splinter Prime killed.
And
you are supposed to stay in another room. Why did you go in there?
Or you're supposed to not even be involved in the damn fight. You're supposed to be in the background somewhere.
Or if you're in the fight, okay, Marvin and who was it? Marvin and Frenchie, or whoever it was, when they were looking at this dude split, why didn't y'all go ahead and shoot both of them right there? Because the copies can't split themselves. They have to split from the Prime. When you saw him doing that in front of you and both of y'all were like, the fuck? Bam, bam, y'all would have solved all of that. Again, this is something I feel like Butcher would have known. Mother's Milk, not thinking about it. But
I'm not liking this hate for Mother's Milk energy we got going.
No,
I'm just saying, because Mother's Milk, he's been one of my favorite characters.
I'm just kidding.
To see him be so completely different, which again, I understand the circumstances have changed. He feels like he has to step up and he doesn't exactly know how to do it. But dude, like, people are telling you are fucking up. And instead of listening and trying to figure out, okay, I did it this way and I fucked it up. Maybe I don't need to do it this way. Maybe I need to do it another way. Because that's now 2 missions where your team almost got killed. You did it in the election night, and then at this TruthCon. That's twice. You almost lost all your team. And not only that, you can't even get your team to stay focused. Kamiko is over here drinking beer after beer after beer because she's traumatized by the whole Shining Light poster, and Frenchie is thinking about other things because he's attracted to someone whose family he killed, and he can't keep his. All y'all motherfuckers finna get killed because you can't focus on shit. At least when y'all were angry at Butcher because Butcher was calling you out on your bullshit, you were still focused because you were like, okay, let's go on ahead and get this shit done so he can get off our backs. At least you had that focus. I'm not saying that I don't like Mother's Milk anymore. I'm saying I don't like the way he is right now. It's just, it's not giving what it's supposed to give. And I need him to fix that. Because other than that, this team is going to be so far up shit creek. And yeah, I need them to get it together.
Yeah, just at this rate, someone's gonna die before the season's end or a season's end.
Yeah, and I don't want that to happen.
I know, but that's kind of how it's saying. It's not gonna be Butcher. But yeah, they're in shambles right now. It's like everybody has their different thing, and it's like Mother's Milk can't even get them to focus. It's like, ugh, it's a big old mess. They'll eventually figure it out for sure, but right now it's not looking like it.
Yeah, because I mean, if they don't get it done quickly, they're gonna have more defeats. And Sage,
she's gonna run circles around them.
Right.
She's gonna.
Right.
And she hadn't even really tried. She set them up this one time, but she hasn't really tried.
But I think too, the reason why she was able to figure out that they would be there, Marvin is predictable. Butcher is not. We said in the last episode, you need a little bit of chaos in order to deal with this problem. Trying to do everything by the book, trying to follow certain rules, trying to follow certain protocols and procedures. No, you're predictable. She's never going to walk into that trap. I need Marvin to get a little bit chaotic, just a little bit, just a tinge. Or else that team is going to be done. Because you're going to have Kamiko over here trying to get revenge. You're going to have Frenchie over here trying to make amends. Because I don't know if I feel like Frenchie is going to tell this boy, yeah, I killed your family.
Unless Frenchie tells him, how is he going to find out? There might be something Sage may know. But
I don't think that would. I don't know if I feel like that would be on Sage's level. Like, she may not give a shit about that, because Frenchie, when all is said and done, he's background noise compared to Butcher and Mother's Milk, because they are the ones that were leading the group. You get rid of those or you bring about their downfall, the rest of the group is going to splinter, because none of them are leaders.
Which brings up the question again, how is he going to find out unless Frenchie tells him? And Frenchie's going to tell him because he's going to want to clear his conscience.
Yeah, which
and that's not going to work. It's not going to work out for either one of them.
Yeah.
No.
That's why I said I think he's going to die. And I think that seems the only logical thing that can happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if he tells him, what is he going to want to do? Kill Frenchie. And what's Frenchie going to have to do? Kill him.
I don't even know if I feel like Colin could kill anybody. He just...
I didn't say he was going to. He would try. I mean, he's going to be... He killed his own family. So.
Yeah, he'll
snap. Yeah.
I think the only other thing we haven't talked about in this episode probably is and I won't say it's the most boring part. I won't say it like that, but Hughie's ongoing drama with his mother. You know.
Shout out to his mom selling Vought brand Herbalife shit.
Oh, yeah.
But
the
rosemary oil and shit. I'm like, oh God. It's like, she's so opaque. It's like, well, she doesn't his life. So he's like, Vought killed my girlfriends. Like, I'm literally fighting them right now. And she just keeps bringing stuff out. And it's like, she ignored what he said. And it's just like.
There's a lot more going on with Mom than I actually think we're seeing right now.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
There has to be because you don't just pop back up in your adult son's life and just like, I have some rosemary oil. No, how about you explain the last 25 years and then we can talk.
Right. But, especially when she was like, your dad and I have been in contact for the last year or two. What?
Yeah.
And he didn't say anything.
And see, the thing is that I suspect that when it comes out to her story, that Vought will have something involved in it. And I suspect that either she was picked for some type of program, or she worked on the program, or she was involved somehow. Because she's just walked in and, like I said, she left. And I don't know. It's just, I don't know. The only other thing that I would say about the whole dad thing is that with the mom showing up like that, and she just seems like she wants forgiveness. She probably is going to work up to one of those scenes where, it wasn't you, it was me, and this and that and all that. Or it could be that she is been working for Vought this entire time, and they decided that they need better eyes on the boys, and she just showed up in this dad's life hoping that something would happen and she'd get a chance to have eyes on her son and report right back to Vought. That could be it too.
That would be an interesting twist. That would be almost kind of sort of full circle for Hughie, but I hope it's not that, because Vought has screwed with Hughie's life enough. So I really hope it's not that, but that would be kind of interesting, especially the way that she has come in. Like you said, she comes in like she's trying to ignore the big elephant in the room. Like, you left this little boy when he was 6, and even when she's like, "Ma, you've gotten tall." He was like, "Yeah, that's what happens when you leave your kid for 20 fucking years." Like, what kind of stupid statement was that? And I just feel like she has put herself, or she has been put into a situation where I feel like she's not gonna, it may not have a good outcome for her either way it goes, because whatever story she tells Hughie, she still has 20 years of anger to deal with. And if she's been back in touch with dad for the last couple of years, I can understand why dad wouldn't have said anything, because Hughie was so angry. Like, he never liked talking about his mother. And I think I think his dad may have tried to mention her a couple of times over the last few seasons, and Hughie, like, nope, don't want to talk about her. So I don't know. Another emotional block that we're gonna have to stumble over in order to get to wherever the boys need to get to by the end of this season. But I just can we get y'all through? Can we get all of y'all through your drama so we can go and kick Homelander's ass and just be done with it? I mean, I know it's not going to happen because we got one more season coming, but I need all of this, everything that's keeping y'all distracted, everything that's keeping y'all from being a cohesive unit. I need y'all to fix your shit and then do what you do. Just, Anyway, I think did we skip anything? I think we got everything.
Did we talk about Ryan's his big scene?
Yes, we talked about him. Well, we talked about Homelander showing up and Ryan pushing. Yeah, we did.
That's a peace boy.
Yeah. But
also shout out real quick to Sage saying that the pitch blew harder than Nancy Reagan on the MGM backlot.
Listen,
one of the best backhanded things I've ever heard in my life. I died.
That shit, I was just like, I said, "Oh, y'all are getting like."
They're getting deep into the shit.
Yes.
Like,
oh my God. And I haven't even gone on Twitter to see if anybody raised any complaints about that, but I was just like, oh, he really went there. Oh,
he went there
he
hard.
went there. The writers, like, they went there. Oh, so if that, I'm just ready. I'm preparing myself mentally for what else is going to come in this season.
Yeah, they pissing off all the snowflakes, like every last one of them, like melting them all, melting.
I thought
every
we were
last
supposed
one
to be the snowflakes.
I mean, funny how that works.
Didn't you post something, Hanako, about Eric Kripke's response to the show being woke?
Yeah, he was like, if you don't like it, go watch something else.
Go watch something else.
But I was like, he's always been like that. Like from season 1, when there were people who were complaining about it, he was like, and
yeah, so I saw someone respond to it. Like, after 3 seasons, they finally figured out that they were being talked about.
Yeah.
Like, they've been doing this the whole damn time. I'm like,
right. Like, you just not figuring this out. Oh, that says a lot about. Anyway, y'all have any final thoughts on this episode?
I thought it was pretty good. I do feel like the pace has picked up a little bit. Still not sure how I feel about the side quest. We'll see.
Yeah.
I liked the episode. I thought the A-Train stuff was interesting. I know they're trying to do some sort of redemption arc for him, whether it works or not. I thought it was a good episode. It was a little shocking. It was a little fun. It was a little gross. It was a good, better than average boys episode.
Yeah. Real quick, shout out to the bar mitzvah having a marvelous Ms. Maisel theme. That shit was awesome. I love that show.
That was awesome.
That was beautiful.
That was also cute, but I liked how Firecracker tried to say that the CIA agents were they were using that as a way
a Zionist cabal.
It's like, where did she come up with this shit?
I mean, I'm surprised. I'm surprised she didn't say that they were conspiring to shoot space lasers at everybody. Shout out to Homelander taking the milkshake away from Ryan for feeling bad about killing somebody. He's like, here's your reward for having a good day. Oh, you hate that? Give me that back. I was
what was it? He asked Sage last episode. He was like, "You really think I would be that petty?" She's like, "Yes,
yes,
yes. You are that petty."
Like, bruh.
And Ryan had already shown that he don't really care for milk the way that you care for milk. So just leave him alone with that.
Yeah, it's like lactose intolerance does not run in your family. Because when they were practicing and he was acting like he was acting bad, and I was like, damn, he's doing a really good job at not at having bad acting. Like, he was like, stop right there, it'll be okay. I was like,
who was that?
Ryan, when they were practicing on the sound stage.
Yes.
Like, you'll be okay. Like, oh God.
Well, I mean, he was seeming like he was unsure. Like when he did the landing, he was kind of shaky. And again, like I said, I don't feel like they're preparing him for what they need to be preparing him for. And that's going to end up biting them in the ass because they're not. And I kind of get what Anthony is saying. Like, they're assuming he already knows this stuff, especially if he's been around Homelander all this time. But Homelander is probably not teaching him properly either. I mean, think about it. The first time he tried to teach him to fly, he just pushed him off the roof. So he
that's still one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
But I mean, he's not getting a proper education, and he knows it. When he asked Homelander, he was like, "Do I look stupid?" And Homelander started to say yes. He was like, "You got to put your back into it, you know." No, y'all need to teach this boy, but at the same time, it's probably good that they're not teaching him. He's not being brainwashed. He's not being programmed. He's still free to think what he thinks. And I think right now Ryan is thinking all of this is bullshit.
Oh, real quick. Shout out to Seth and Evan for making an appearance and doing another pitch. Because I didn't think Seth would ever come back.
Love those dudes. It's fucking awesome.
But they were the ones who pitched Homeboy. So no shout out to them. Like I said, I'm taking his black card because no.
He don't have much left to take, if I'm not mistaken.
He probably doesn't.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I guess that's it for our discussion for episode 2. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social media at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.